What's up, guys? Welcome to Third Pedal Podcast. I'm Zach.
I'm Jacob.
Welcome back to the show. Today we've got some interesting stuff. We talk about, we found a new page on a pretty popular website on the internet. I don't want to give any spoilers here, but some interesting stuff. Maybe a new section of the show we're going to be starting.
I don't remember what we called it.
Digital Diagnostics.
Digital Diagnostics.
And then we talk about a drug dealer who has a pretty fantastic, former drug dealer, locked up, pretty fantastic car collection. And then some really interesting tips and tricks on selling and buying cars using Marketplace, Craigslist, that type of stuff, some do's and don'ts. So stick around for that.
Okay.
Forget the agenda we had. We're on Craigslist now.
Welcome back to Third Pedal Podcast, everybody. Did you know that Craigslist has an automotive discussion forum available just for anybody? Because we didn't, and now we're...
What is that super short one? I can't read your screen. What
okay,
does that
so
say?
there's... I don't know how to read what I'm looking at here. I think it's just all forum thread stuff, but it's super terrible interface. But this one is just called mirror adjustment. So I clicked it, and it's just a post that says, be sure your mirror is correctly adjusted. Malicious maladjusters can cause a wreck.
Malicious maladjusted.
I don't know if that's like subliminal messaging for something, but...
Yeah, I feel like some people are speaking through code using these
Probably.
things to launder
Here's
money
one.
or whatever.
I pissed a few people off. That's the name of the post. I parked around the corner and walked up to the pump with 5-gallon gas can. What? Oh, I'm within a thing about gas stations. Okay, let's go to a different one.
I was going to say, oh, that's a weird flex.
Airlift, rear bag, suspension, and shocks. How important is the quality of rear shocks with airlift overloaded bags since you keep a minimum of 7 to 12 pounds? Okay, so it's literally just
Wait a
discussion.
minute, but there's no comments or whatever. So how do
It's
they get
this.
any?
It's all these things. These are comments.
Oh,
Regular performance. Okay.
Those are replies to the thread. Okay, I see now. I see the format.
Okay, so what's this one? Used transmission fluid for winter heat. I have over 1,000 gallons of used transmission fluid that has been settling in tanks for over 4 years. It burns great, just as it is. How do you have 1,000?
Wait a minute. How are you burning transmission fluid? I don't think you're supposed to do that. Are you?
I doubt it. If we have catalytic converters in clothes,
Yeah, right. You could probably run it in a Cummins, though. I bet. Seems like
what
you
is
can run anything in a
this
diesel.
other post? Hey, what do you get when you mix 1 gallon of bad gas with 4 gallons of good gas? 5 gallons of medium gas.
yeah, 5 gallons of okay gas.
This is
Can you
so
reply to
weird.
that? I want an account now. Do you have to have an account, or is this just all anonymous?
Reply to this post. You have to have a Craigslist
Okay,
account. That's
okay.
got to be easy to get. Wait. Okay, so I got stuck fixing my girlfriend's Volkswagen. Oh, he's pissed.
All right, let's hear it.
So he says
Keep out all those words.
he says POS of poop. So
Wait,
it's a piece of
POS
poop. It's
of?
a piece of poop. Anyways,
Oh.
the fuel pump went out as I suspected. But try to tell her that. Oh man,
Wow.
this guy. So then it still wouldn't start. I kind of broke the connector to the fuel pump. Back to the junkyard. The connector cracked off. So it wasn't making the connect it needed. Those connectors are a pain in the butt.
And just that. That's the whole post. There's no backstory to that. Can we start an account and just give bad advice to the
That would
questions
be fun.
asked?
That would be really
This
fun.
might be a new subsection of the show. I think it is. I mean, it is already now. You guys are with us discovering this.
Oh, here we go. Okay, who likes a mystery?
Oh,
All right, this will be the last one we read.
Okay.
I have a 2001 Ford Explorer Sport 2-door. Oh, this is what we're going to do now, is we're going to read one of these and then try to solve it together.
Yeah.
That's for sure what we're going to do.
Yeah, 100%. We're solving this guy's
That's
problem.
probably where your brain was. I don't know where I was thinking.
Oh,
Okay.
no. I meant like we're going to mess with people and give them all of
100%.
the wrong answers. So what you're going to need to do is
Check
you
the
take a
fluid in
gallon
your
of
spark plugs.
antifreeze, right? A gallon of antifreeze. You're going to put that in your engine. It's going to stop the gas
Keep
from
it from
freezing up.
freezing.
That's right.
All right. Who likes a mystery? I have a 2001 Ford Explorer Sport 2-door V6 4-liter automatic transmission, 4-wheel drive, 80,000 miles on it. 2001 with 80,000 miles, not bad. I've been using this as my daily driver for the past 3 years. I drive about 5,000 miles a year. About 6 months ago,
You're not driving daily at 5,000 miles a year.
Correct.
You're driving far.
About 6 months ago, I started finding a petroleum-based liquid drops on my driveway. Only 5 drops in a distinct pattern on the driveway after each use. The pattern is a C shape between the 2 front wheels and next to the AC condenser water. Okay. I took it to my local garage Yes, they are reputable. Who put it on the lift and couldn't define a source. He noticed the liquid, why does he keep putting quotes around liquid, was slung on the inside of the driver's side tire and wheel, and then it trailed all the way back past the catalytic converter. He thought it was being slung on the wheel by the front transfer case drive shaft. Okay.
So descriptive.
Yeah, he's really in it. We are 2 paragraphs into this multi-paragraph thing. This liquid is on the underside of the front of the engine girdle, lower oil pan. Just say lower oil pan. The front wheel transfer case, the transmission shift linkage, passenger side, and the cross member, the frame, and the rear engine mount. And the front exhaust Y looks like it's burned off quite a bit of the stuff. I wonder if it smells like it. I wonder what it smells like coming off.
I
Now,
have a feeling the car smells like cigarettes anyways.
yeah,
Just a guess.
yeah. Now,
I don't know. Just someone who's posting on Craigslist forums.
now
Maybe
here's
I'm
the,
prejudging.
here's the mystery. When inspected, the front transfer case lube was low. The trouble is this liquid is clear and does not smell like gear oil. I don't believe that. The condition started prior to my last oil change, and I have about 3,000 miles on that change. So if it were engine oil, it should no longer be clear, correct? And it would smell like oil and gas. By the way, I use synthetic blend of oil, okay? Also, if there was automatic transmission fluid from the transmission or hydraulic power steering pump, it would be red. There are no apparent major engine seals leaking, no excess wear in the front or rear main seals, and there's no change in engine oil level since the oil change. My mechanic put some dye in the engine oil to see if it's motor oil, and I'm thinking about getting underneath with the pressure washer degreaser to clean it off and see if that's where it's coming from or somewhere else. So any of you gear-headed sleuths want to try and figure this one out? Thanks if you do. I will take all recommendations to my mechanic next week when I go back.
How long ago was this posted?
This was posted on a couple weeks ago. Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
Oh, there's tons of replies to it.
Yeah. So what do you think?
For sure, wash it.
Yeah.
That would be.
I was going to say too, that's the first step is degrease the crap out of it.
Clean it and then just like check it every day.
Yep.
I guess if you're daily like just check on it every day, see if you see a new drip coming from somewhere.
Yep.
That'd be the easiest thing.
Yep. Yeah, that's where I would start. It has to have some sort of smell or something to it.
It's got
Because
it, right?
everything smells like something. I mean, so this guy, I was reading some comments on it. The first one is no mystery. He does quotes. The front transfer case lube was low is all you need to know. And then,
yeah, that seems like the most obvious.
Yep. And then he comments back, but it doesn't smell like gear oil. And then
Wait.
Yep.
It doesn't smell it. So just like on the ground. And
no, he's doing what you do. Is you go like this. You go like this, and then you taste it or you smell it. You like
don't taste it. Don't taste it. But
everybody tastes it.
wait, that's. Do you know the difference between what transmission fluid, gear oil, engine oil, and what other kind of coolants and lubricants and stuff smell like?
Yes.
That much? Really?
Yes. You definitely do too.
Okay.
Have you ever smelled gear oil? It's
Maybe
like
not.
super pungent. Yeah.
Oh,
Chloe
okay.
can't stand the smell of it. I have a sweater that will always smell like it.
Gotcha.
You can definitely tell if it's gear lube. Now, what he just posted, I don't know if this is true. He said, oops, Google answered my question. And he did what kind of fluid goes in a front differential? And it said mineral oil. But I don't think that's true.
Mineral oil.
That doesn't sound right. I don't think
That goes in where? Transfer case?
Yeah.
It could be your problem.
Yeah.
If you put mineral oil in there.
Right. I don't know what you're doing with mineral oil.
I don't think that's for that.
But yeah, I don't know. Like for sure, I'm with you. Like the first step for sure is pressure washing the bottom. Use like the nice degreaser and like spray it, let it soak, rinse it all off, let it be clean.
Yep.
And then what I like to do is put, I forget what car I did this on, but I couldn't tell if it was, I think it was on the Porsche. I couldn't tell if it was the engine oil leaking or if it was the power steering fluid because I was looking for the color. And like he says, it would be red, you'd notice it. But on the pavement when it's wet,
It's tough,
You can't always see. Unless it's like pooled,
also,
it's hard to see.
If it's dripping out of something
Yeah.
and then running down and collecting all the other dirt and junk too, like it might have started red.
Yep.
Also, how like if that was a fresh change or not.
Yeah.
If not, if
Yeah.
it's already darkened oil and grease and stuff in there,
Yeah.
and then it drips down and collects everything else and
That's
mixes
a good
with
point.
water and whatever and hits the ground.
Yeah.
It's gonna look totally different.
Yeah, because he's already got the pattern down. So like what I've done is we had like poster board, like white poster board,
Yeah.
or
Smart.
even like paper or something if you really know where it is. But sit it underneath where you know it's coming from, and then let it drip down a couple times. Because then at least you can get like you can pull it off the concrete and like
Right.
analyze it,
Get a
check it
better
out or
view of
whatever.
that stuff.
So maybe that can help him find it. But yeah, I don't know.
They should have like I have test strips for my pool.
Oh
You dip
yeah,
them down and it shows like
hey,
how much
that'd be
chlorine,
cool.
how much this, how much that you
You
have.
could like sample it. Oh, dude, this is our thing. We can make
That'd
it's
be a
like a
product.
little Like what the cops use to they'll dip it in whatever and then they shake it and they're like,
Yeah.
if
Test
it's
for
this
drugs
it'll
and
be
stuff.
purple, if it's
Yeah.
this it's orange.
And they're just shaking for
that'd be
your
really cool.
next
You
the
just
next 5
swab
years
it
of your life.
and
They're
shake
just
the thing.
checking.
Yeah. Yeah, 2 hours later.
Yeah, right. It's not green yet, but we're still betting on it.
It's starting to turn.
That would be an interesting product. I don't know how that would be. Like, I don't know how you'd have to figure out a chemical that reacts different with different types of sort of petroleum based
Yeah,
products.
I wonder if you could, because if it's like if it's like anything that's in at least then you could tell. Like coolant is pretty easy because it smells really, really weird. But maybe, I don't know if you could do something, or maybe you could, if you didn't know, you like put the dye in one thing, and then if it's in that thing, it'll react and turn. So then at least you could tell, like, okay, is this oil or is it not? You swab it, you do the thing, shake it. If it didn't turn, it's not that thing, kind of thing. You could start ruling
Easiest way to do it would be to have re-engineer all of the fluids for the car that then they come with a specific set of different chemicals added to them.
Yeah.
That if they leak, you test it and it shows you exactly what it is.
It could just be your additive. Like maybe there's just an additive kit. So then like whatever fluids you use, you just like drop it in or whatever.
Yep.
So you'd like put a little bit in your washer fluid and a little bit in your coolant and a little bit in this. And
Yep. And then that reacts differently with it'd be best to make it like almost like some type of absorbent paper type of thing.
Yeah.
Because that's what the pool thing is. It's a paper strip that has little dots of foam on it. And you dip it and then you hold it up next to the bottle. The bottle has the key code for
Interesting.
it. And so depending on how dark of what color it is, that's how much is
really?
in it. Yeah, because it's testing chlorine and hardness and alkalinity and stuff like that. But if you had it as like a little swatch or whatever, like say it's in like a little Post-it note type of thing, you pull it off. Because then you can absorb it from the concrete or whatever. You like kind of hold it on there and then pull it up, and it can, whatever color it turns is what fluid is leaking.
That's a good
That'd be a way to do it. Yeah, and then you just have a little additive kit. It comes with like 5 bottles.
Yeah.
Put a little bit in each one.
Yeah. You just like put a little bit of food coloring in each thing. And
I can for sure see that voiding warranties.
100%.
Yeah. But hey,
new additive leads
2001
to...
with 80,000 miles. It doesn't have warranty anyway, so it'd be great for used cars.
So I have one more to read just because the title. Wait, okay, 2 of them. Which one do you think we should read? One is Battery Exploded with exclamation point by Finger of Death. And then another one is When I was a kid, I grew up next to a quarter.
What? Next to a quarter?
I'm just going to see how long that one is. Oh, Mile Paved Oil or Oval. Okay.
Oh, I see. It was so the subject is just the part of the first sentence. Is that how it?
yeah.
Or was he just? Is that like clickbait for Craigslist forums?
I don't know. I think he typed it wrong. Maybe. I think that's what happened. Like maybe he didn't type a title. He typed a thing and it just pulled it for the title. Maybe. This one, Battery Exploded. This is the last one I'll read because this could be. You guys should check this out for sure in your own city. If you see a really funny one, share it with us. We'd love to see it.
Yes.
Battery Exploded. This is not what you're thinking. This is a 1,500-pound forklift battery.
Yikes.
When I started work this morning, I noticed one of our forklifts wouldn't move. Can't talk. When I would turn it on, it would have an error message on the screen. And at one point, it said low battery. So I decided to change the battery out for a fully charged one. We have one of those battery chargers, and it's basically a pallet jack with rollers on it. After removing the battery and putting it on the rollers at the chargers, I plugged it into a charger. Then I started loading the charge battery onto the changer. Bang! It sounded like a rifle shot. I about pooped myself. It appears that only one cell went off, and although I could smell acid, I didn't get splashed.
Good.
Jeez, dude.
Good.
Looking at the battery, it does not look like much happened, but the plastic top is broken on one cell. The forklift worked fine after changing the battery. I'm thinking the battery had a short or something. When they get low, they go on the lift, but you can usually still drive on them pretty far. So that gets them to the charger. Service guy from the place came in and said the batteries are old. The guy came in and said the batteries are old. Batteries explode. I've seen it before. No big deal.
Yikes, dude.
Wow. Hey,
1,500-pound battery.
That's nuts.
Like pallet jack battery.
Yeah. My motorcycle weighs 500 pounds.
That's insane.
So 3 motorcycles of battery and it explodes. And the service guy's like, happens. Did you know Dad doesn't really have a thumbprint on one hand from battery acid?
What?
We just talked about. He's like, I've told you guys about this. I'm like,
no,
you do not.
Should we phone him real quick?
Apparently,
to tell the story.
No, it's not too much. Okay. He was trying to hold. Apparently, well, yeah, you're listening, Dad. So tell us if I'm wrong. But he was like trying to put a battery in a car. He was just telling me about this when we were putting the boat battery in. He was trying to hold it and like put a bolt on or whatever with it. And all of a sudden, he like felt it burning, and he's like, I'm pretty close. I can get it done. So he like did it because I said something about battery acid getting on you. He's like, doesn't hurt at first, but like takes a second. I was like, how do you know?
You're like, tell
He's
me
like, well,
more.
yeah. So he said when he was holding it, he was like trying to get a bolt on to mount it, and like he was holding it, supporting it, and he didn't want to let it go, and he thought he had it, but then it was like starting to hurt. He's like, oh crap, and he's like going. So then he went and washed it off after, and it apparently burnt his thumb really bad. It was super nasty for like a year. But he said even now, he said for the longest time he didn't have a thumbprint, and then it like came back.
Wow.
But like now he was just doing the TSA pre-check, and it took forever to get his thumbprint in. And he's like, yeah, sorry, I burnt it off with battery acid. And I'm like, not the thing they want to hear.
Yeah, right.
Like, oh, sorry, my
Sorry,
bad.
I'm a fugitive.
Yeah, sorry, just trying to hide it.
Removed.
So, but anyway, so yeah,
That's
there you
crazy.
go. The Craigslist. So if you go to Craigslist in your area under forums, it's automotive. Viewer discretion is advised. But
Is it unregulated? Is that Craigslist forums?
Yeah, Craigslist is the original 4chan, I think.
Oh,
There's some stuff on there.
they're still rolling, dude.
They're crushing. Haven't changed their design since whenever.
Since the beginning.
It
right?
says 2023 at the bottom, but don't believe you.
Yeah, 1993 though is kind of what it looks like.
But anyway, so there you go. Apparently that's a section. We are definitely going to diagnose cars every episode now. That's great.
Yep.
That's super great.
Yep.
So we think for this guy, if you're listening, if you happen to be listening, that'd be funny to post the link
There's
to the
a
episode.
0% chance this guy goes on YouTube.
He
right?
lives in
What do you
your
think?
area.
Does he?
I don't know.
Should message him. See if we can fix his car. That'd be kind of fun. That'd be like a.
That would be kind of cool.
We're not. I mean, we may be no better at it than he is, though. To be fair,
Yeah.
It's not like we're
I
mechanics.
didn't know you could
know
go
what I
on Craigslist and post about it. So
mean? Yeah,
he's better than us.
dude. Think about all of the places you think about posting.
Never once have I been like, I wonder if Craigslist
I wonder if
knows.
there's anybody on Craigslist who knows how to fix this car. Because it's also just open forum, all of automotive.
Right.
Just think about posting on a Facebook group about your specific niche of car. Like you're down to the like year and engine type and model range. Like they have those very specific Facebook groups. And it's even hard sometimes getting answers on there because there's so much activity or no activity. Like it's hit or miss. But
Yeah, can you imagine being like, I don't know, Thunder Dragon 582 says I should do
Yeah.
this. So
yeah.
it's like not even, because at least on Facebook you can click and like see the person's profile and be like, you know what? Like I've had that before. People comment something and click on their profile and you're like, oh, they have like a whole barn full of 944s in their cover
You're like,
photo.
okay, they probably know what
They
they're
seem
doing.
legit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Versus this is just like
Just anonymous
anybody.
forum posting.
Yeah. So anyway,
That's funny.
there you go. Didn't know that exists on Craigslist. Good open for the episode, I guess. So speaking of,
So what are we going to call this? Answer the internet?
I like it.
Answer the internet?
Answer the internet.
All right. New section
There you
on
go.
Third Pedal Podcast, Answer the Internet. And then you've
Or it
already
could be
said a
called
bunch
digital
of times.
diagnostics.
I like that way better. Digital Diagnostics. That's what it is. Digital Diagnostics.
we go.
Post them on our Facebook crew page, though. If you guys
Yes.
find some, especially if they're funny ones.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's like a very intricate fix on something, and then we're not really going to know about, that's you can keep it to
Or
yourself.
troll your own area and just post a random one.
Yes. Oh, post your replies and stuff. Hey, we should do a troll post.
That would be fun.
I tried peanut butter, like a very Tim Robinson type of one. They told me to put crunchy peanut butter in the valves. All right. How much time do we have left? Can we
I
rock
don't know.
another story?
Oh yeah. Yeah, we got a story, and then we're going to talk about some more marketplace
If you're
stuff.
still with
Yeah.
us. So I saw this story. This didn't just break or whatever, but I had
Okay.
never heard about it, and I'd be surprised if many other people have heard about it. It was just because it's not necessarily directly car related, but
Okay.
of course, car people then found the story and were like, "This is actually very interesting."
Okay. I'm in.
So the story
Comfy.
is centered around a man named Corey Taylor. I believe he is in prison right now.
Okay.
I think so. I don't know if he's.
We are crushing it week to week on the prison
still-
stories here.
Yeah, so I don't know if he's still or I would guess so. So, anyways.
Oh yeah, judging by the title, I bet he's. I think
so. Yeah, you don't
safely
usually get
tucked away in
you
a
don't
cell.
usually get anything trafficker and get out. You know what I mean? So, drug trafficker's incredible collection of dream cars. I won't read the rest of it because I want to go through it. Yeah. You don't get to traffic anything and get out of jail.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so just to the story, this guy was a pretty notorious drug trafficker. Seemed like mostly marijuana, which
Okay.
I know it's illegal still in a lot of places.
Yep.
It seemed like kind of like it.
So he picked
Like-
the wrong state.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, you could have just moved like
Right.
4 hours away, and
Right.
you would have ran a legitimate business. It wouldn't have been a.
All the billboards on the way here tell me that would not be that
I
hard
know.
of a job.
I know. It's totally. So this may have no. It says it wasn't long ago. It's 2022. Anyways,
You sure it was marijuana? I mean, I guess we should
It
stop.
was a lot of it, to be fair. It was a lot of it. So, okay. So it was Massachusetts area. He ran a huge marijuana trafficking operation.
He was caught with 138
There it
pounds.
is. Okay. So it was a routine traffic stop. So a dude gets pulled over for whatever. Didn't do a turn signal or something. And this is how it went. You ready? We're going to...
I just read a little bit of it.
We're going to role play the... I'm assuming he wasn't like, what's your badge number? You know, I'm assuming he was probably keeping it low
I'm
key.
not driving, I'm traveling.
Yeah. I think he was keeping it pretty low key, knowing that he had a few keys in the car.
What did he get pulled over in, first of all?
It was a van.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He was this feels like profiling. Supposedly making a delivery to a man named Juan. I don't feel like that feels like that was unnecessary. Come on, man. Whoever wrote this article. But anyway, so he gets pulled over during a routine traffic stop. This is how it went. So,
are you the cop or am I the guy? What's the...
you be the guy.
Okay. Okay.
Roll down your window.
I'm nervous. So
Yeah, no, just roll down
you
your
gotta
window.
knock again because I'm nervous. Good evening,
sir,
officer.
do you know what? Yeah, step out of the car. One sniff. Dude had 138 pounds of marijuana in the vehicle.
Ooh.
In the vehicle with him.
Wow.
138 pounds. Now, okay, some drugs are denser than others. I don't know if you know this.
I don't.
Some drugs are more dense than others. I would argue that marijuana is the least dense drug.
Yeah. You mean the leaf one?
Like a pound is like a lot.
Right.
Like a...
Right.
I don't
know the
if
amount.
anybody actually has bought weed before and knows more about, they may be like, these guys have no idea what they're talking about. I've never bought it,
showing our
touched it,
cards.
whatever. I'm never physically seen it in person.
It's
but
like a pound, or is a pound?
no, I've seen like a pound, like a gallon plastic bag. Like it's a big amount because it's like flour and stuff, you know?
Yeah. So now that we're flagged, let's keep going.
Yeah. Are we? Yeah, this is
not great.
we're not monetized anyways. Who cares? So, but it's like a lot. So like 138 pounds is like, and you can vacuum compress stuff, but dude,
I see why he's in the
that's
van.
like yeah, you need it for 138 pounds. That's the whole cargo. So
what movie is that? The movie with Andy from I don't know his real name, from Parks and Rec, or Andy from The Office, and he's
yeah, it's like different people.
yeah, and he
Nard Dog, is that what you're talking about?
yeah,
Okay.
and he it's him and Jennifer Aniston, and
Oh yeah, they're on like
they're in the RV. And
Yeah,
they, like,
what's
steal
that movie
the drugs.
called? I've never watched it.
We just watched it not long ago. It's pretty funny. I mean, it's not great, but it's
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
funny. I can't think of the name of it, but yeah, that's the whole premise. Is like they pack the thing to the gills with drugs. It's like coming out of every cabinet and everything, and then they keep getting pulled over and keep getting out of it barely. But this guy should have watched that movie.
Yeah, dude.
Missed opportunity. Should have
We
posed
got
as a
Breaking
family.
Bad. We've got whatever that movie's called, and yeah, if he just had like, yeah, he could have. Never mind. 138 pounds of marijuana. It's a lot of marijuana. Supposedly making a delivery. So back at his drug headquarters,
HQ.
which really cool. He had a what's the word for it? Historical. I was like antique, vintage. No, it's a building. Historical firehouse that he had converted into like a huge luxury condo.
Wow.
Super cool looking property. So he had 24 illegal weapons.
He should have called it the smoke station or something like that.
I bet he had a cool name for it. I'd love to know.
The flames.
So it said I read another article that said there were an extra 183 pounds of marijuana back at that place. This
Holy
says 50
cow.
pounds of marijuana. So
Wait,
it's a lot,
what else
regardless.
is there?
Stacks of cash. So $4 million of cash and a kitty cat. Okay, I think this guy who wrote this is kind of weird. Because there's like some random detail thrown in. Supposedly making a delivery to a man named Juan, and there's a kitty cat. So I read another article that was a little more professional. But anyways.
So anyways, the reason we're talking about this guy.
Yeah, sorry. I got a little lost there in the story, didn't I? So dude gets pulled over with tons of drugs. So he's running this big drug trafficking ring. And one of the things I said to you before we started was like there's that saying, like, if I ever won the lottery, I would never tell anybody, but there'd be signs.
Yeah.
It's like the same type of deal with him.
Yeah.
And in the car world, it's like, oh, I'd have all these crazy cars.
Yeah.
So dude had at his fire station headquarters, the smokehouse or whatever we're gonna call it, he had 8 cars, which is like, okay, 8 cars. You know,
That's
it's
a reasonable
it's
collection.
More cars than most people.
Okay.
Not super crazy. They're all like rare JDM
Nice.
desirable cars.
Nice.
So like Mark IV Supras.
No one suspected him.
Well, To be fair, if there was a guy I saw locally that was like, if he had a type of car that I would be like, that guy might be doing drugs, it'd probably not be like Supras and stuff.
Fair.
It'd be like Ferraris and like
It'd be Bentleys
with 24s and stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, that guy might be selling drugs.
Yeah.
Like murdered out M6s and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
that's more what I would picture.
Yeah.
But he has like very pristine,
Weird.
like rare JDM
Yeah.
cars. So this is a photo of a bunch of, they were all
Cool.
auctioned off last year.
So don't follow anything about this guy except his car taste.
Yeah, right. Sorry for that long
Yeah,
intro.
that's-
We might cut
How
that out.
Zach introed this story to me was like, hey, you know that whole thing about like if I won the lottery, there'd be signs? This drug dealer, it's crazy thing with the drug dealer, but he had a cool car collection.
Yeah. So just that's so it was a bunch of,
Wow, a bunch of Supras.
there were 27 total vehicles.
Oh,
A lot of those, I believe it was 12 Mark IV Supras,
wow.
all with like
Why would you own
10,000
12
miles, 10 to 50,000 miles, like low mile, nice Supras.
Why would you own that many of one kind of car though?
Well, here's the thing. He was selling drugs. There weren't a lot of smart decisions being made. I think what happened
Here's
was
the thing.
he made his first like $100,000,
Yeah.
and he was like, I'm gonna get a Supra. I'm gonna buy the best Supra I can possibly get. And he probably spent a pretty penny on it,
Yep.
getting it over here and everything.
Yep.
And then he made $1 million, and he was like,
You know, it's
I-
cooler than one Supra.
10. I think realistically, because what do you do? I mean, on a smart criminal note, having many of the same car,
Yeah.
it doesn't look as suspicious as having a bunch of different cars.
Yeah.
Like if he was in a new car every day,
Yeah.
he was in a new car every day.
Right.
But if he was in a different type of car every day, it'd be
Right.
like, what is happening?
Yeah.
But if every day he's pulling out of this garage in the same Supra,
Yeah.
supposedly,
Right.
and he's got black ones and silver ones and white ones and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But it's not like
He
has
just looks like a
red,
weird
yellow.
gearhead
He doesn't
guy,
have
yeah.
the whole rainbow of
Right.
colored Supras either.
Right.
So
Yeah,
it
maybe
looks
that's what he was
fairly
working
normal.
towards.
And it's like a 90s, JDM car. It doesn't necessarily look super flashy and
Yeah.
whatever, but it's like super cool. So he had R33 and R34
Wow.
GTRs, BMW M3s, like E46 BMW M3s.
Man, other than the drugs, this guy would have loved this podcast.
Yeah, right? He would have. Yeah,
I never noticed. If you look at that picture, the black one, I never noticed how much the GR86 kind of looks like one.
Oh, is
new
that
one.
what you were looking at for?
Yeah.
Looking that up for?
Yeah, like
Yeah. Pretty similar.
the lights and everything on the front, it
Mhm.
really looks like an old Supra.
You know, this might be an unpopular opinion, but the Mark IV Supra is a really good looking car.
I don't think that's an unpopular
No,
opinion.
I wanted to preface it that way.
Yeah,
They just did a really good job.
Yeah,
you
they
know?
did.
I think
It
it's a
aged
great
well.
looking car. Big body, like nice long car. So yeah, that's a E92, I believe.
Okay.
M3. So just a whole host of cool cars. He
So-
had some Evos,
What happened to them?
S2000s. They all got auctioned off.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
they got seized and auctioned. So we had 8 at his firehouse, the smokehouse, converted
Yep.
to the condo and
Yep.
everything, along with $4 million in cash. So he ran out of available Supras, is my guess, because he had like 12 Supras and then all these other cars, 27 cars. And then he's like, I don't have any more room. Because then he had a giant temperature controlled garage on his mom's property. I'm guessing it was in a different area, another state or something. That's where the rest of them were. That's
my
where
gosh.
19 of them, I guess, were
That's
in
crazy.
this storage to
That's
keep
quite
them
the
all clean and
collection.
nice. So I thought that was kind of funny. It's like, drug bust, but what he spent his money on. It's like
Yeah.
if I make millions of dollars selling drugs, like I'm not gonna tell anybody, obviously, but there's
Right.
gonna be signs. I'm
Right.
gonna have a garage on my mom's property with 19 like rare
Right.
JDM cars,
That is interesting, though. He's like, I could spend $200,000 on a Ferrari, or hear
Right.
me out,
or buy a bunch of them.
4 Supras.
Yeah, and it's funny because like this is a Integra Type R, right?
Yeah.
And Honda
Like
Integra.
weirdly good car taste.
Yeah,
Not
like
great decision making skills, but great car taste.
well,
These are clean.
I would say I would say the habits of car guys and drug users are probably pretty close as far as like irrational thinking, overspending, that type of stuff.
Tunnel vision.
Yeah, there's probably a lot of similarities. I think there's a lot of similarities
That's
there.
fair.
I haven't read the psychology or anything, but
Smoke tires,
I would-
not drugs, kids.
There we go. We need a T-shirt that says that.
I designed one a while ago.
We
I should
should-
get it
We
released.
should wrap that sucker up.
Summer collection.
I'd wear that.
coming soon. Interesting. Well, speaking of, unless you got more on this, speaking of purchasing a bunch of old Supras and European.
I was trying to find if there was the full write-up. There's the Firehouse.
Oh, that's
It's
cool.
like a Google Street View, though. I'm
Yeah.
assuming it looked nicer than that. Well, here's a little more specs about the car. So he had a 96 model Supra with 22,900 miles on it. That one got bid up to 170,000.
Wow.
That was as of this writing. So I think the auction was live while they were writing this. 97 Supra was at 155. And that was on a 93 one with just 8,000 miles had reached up to 130.
Wow. That's interesting. Well, okay. So on that note,
Crazy.
so we're talking about purchasing a ridiculous amount of cars, everything like that.
Mm-hmm. What's the segue for this?
I don't know. I'm trying hard, man. Marketplace, selling your cars, buying your cars, trading cars.
That's what we were going to talk about.
Yeah. That's what. Well, this is the path we sort of prescribed. It took a hiccup. Craigslist too. But no, we want to talk a little bit about like you guys are. Everybody has had, and we're all guilty of. Probably all car guys have sent the "Is this available?" text to a lot of things.
Hey, you know what?
No
though?
intention of purchasing.
You know what though? I've accidentally bumped that button more times than I've hit it on purpose.
Yeah.
Is that like on? I bet Facebook has that button real sensitive. Like they have the sensitivity turned
You
all
just
the way up.
touch anything near it. And it goes,
Yeah, because I've like just like clicked on something and scrolled, and then it's been like ding.
Yeah.
And then I immediately go to messages, be like, "Sorry, man,
Yeah, I do
bad
the same.
thumbs or whatever." Because I hate when people send it to me, and then I'm probably like, "Yes, it's available," and then it's just ghost.
Yeah,
Like,
that's fine
the
to say, but you
stereotype.
do it though. You do it. You send the "Are you available?" to things you're not going to buy for sure.
Oh yeah, all the time. No, I'm saying I accidentally hit it though
Holier
more
than
times than I
thou
do
over
on
here.
purpose,
Oh yeah,
for sure.
accidentally.
But no, I'm a gentleman though. I rewrite it. I don't just do the "Hi, are you? Is this available?"
Yeah, it's like, "Hi, beautiful Corvette."
Hey Kevin, love what you've done with the car.
Yeah,
I was
really nice
wondering if
exhaust.
the vehicle is still available.
How long have you owned
change
it?
it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, how long have you owned it? Ask a
What's
question.
the maintenance history on it?
Yeah.
So I thought it'd be cool to talk a little bit about like, because some people, like I know, like some people have never sold a car private party before, and that like scares them. There's a lot. Obviously, you have to like negotiate, you have to go through that whole thing. A lot of people haven't ever bought a car private party because that kind of scares them. Because you don't have the dealer, you don't have like any recourse afterwards. It's kind of as is if you're buying something private party. And then especially a lot of people haven't like traded for stuff before and done like I'm trying to trade up to a camper and doing the whole thing. But like people haven't done that, and like we've both. I think, have you ever traded cars?
Never.
Oh, okay. I've done it a lot.
Yeah.
I've
I've never successfully done a trade.
Oh,
I've
they're
tried.
weird. Yeah.
With every car I've ever sold, I think I've put it up for trade or like sent it to people. Even with the Audi.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I was really trying to trade for a 911.
Yeah.
That was
that'd
like
be
the
cool.
goal for it. But every 911 guy was like, it's okay. Like,
This is a Porsche.
I know.
You're
I
like,
was
okay.
like, dude, you have a 99 911. I'm trying to trade you a 2017 Audi.
Yeah.
With half the miles.
Yeah.
And they're like, no. It's like, okay.
They're like,
okay.
is it water cooled?
Yeah, right.
Easy.
I'm like, when it rains.
So,
Anyways.
yeah. So with all that, like, I don't know. I guess we can start with, maybe start with buying, because we both have done that recently.
What tips for?
Yeah, tips for like how to engage, like what the process is. Anything across the board with it, with buying and then selling, and then we can go into trading. So I don't know. What are some questions that you normally ask? How do you
I would give
filter
it
through?
a few things to avoid.
Yeah.
I would say.
Because something you said before too.
Yeah.
Marketplace killed Craigslist. Like Craigslist used to be the thing. It was like Craigslist.
Well, not if we have anything to say about it, because we might blow them up with this whole forums thing.
Fair.
With digital diagnostics.
But I found my Porsche on Craigslist. I found my Audi on Craigslist. My BMW. All those I think was before Marketplace.
Yeah, I found like my first 5 cars probably through Craigslist. Yeah.
Yeah. Your
Or
Datsun was on
Marketplace.
Craigslist, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. So
My Subaru, I think. No, that was Facebook Marketplace by then.
Okay.
So I would say a few things to avoid if you're trying to buy something, especially if you're trying to get a halfway decent deal on something. Don't just send an offer as your first message.
Right.
Like, would you take X? If you have a budget of a very specific amount, like if your budget is $5,000 and you're looking at $7,000 to $9,000 cars, do not message them and say, "Would you take 5?"
Cash now.
Right off the bat. I would get to that before you go meet with them.
Yeah.
With the plan of offering them 5, if that's your absolute max budget. Because there's nothing that annoys somebody. There's nothing that closes a door more than that, than like wasting somebody's time.
Yeah.
And I get it. Like you want to be able to negotiate and try to get a good deal and stuff like that. But I would always sort of hint at that before you get out there.
Yeah.
Because I think we've both had that where people have like shown up to look at something and then
I
like,
just had that with Audi.
I'd really like to be around here. And it's like, well, I'd really like it to be $1 million, but
Right.
we can't have
Right.
what we want,
Right.
and this is the price for this
Right.
car.
Well, and it's hard to like balance too. Like some people, like I've had people, and I understand it. Some people are like, I will not give you any sort of indication of a number until I see the car, kind of a thing. And then other, like I prefer to like know we're in the same ballpark before.
For sure.
But like before you get to the price question, make sure you ask like it's like anything. You have to have reason to convince. You have to have enough like evidence or enough something to like substantiate what you're going to say. So
Yep.
if it's a $7,000 car and you want to get it for 5, you have to know that there's some like reason for that. So like either do research on other models and like see, okay, there is maybe this person is like overestimating the value of their car. So there's like other reasons to say like, hey, there's these other ones posted for this. So I'm just wondering if you guys have room. Sometimes people are just shooting in the dark. Sometimes they have reasons, but like asking like, what is the maintenance history on the car? How old are the tires? When's the last time it's been serviced? What are there any current issues with the car? Does anything leak? Can you give me photos of the undercarriage? Like anything? Because then you can use any of that kind of stuff as like it's way more attractive. Like we've all gotten the comments or like the message to say, you know, whatever, it's listed for this. And they offer you like half price. They're like, I'll give you this cash. That doesn't mean anything. But if somebody has a thoughtful, like, hey, we've already dialogued about this. I've proven that I'm kind of serious. Given the rust situation on the bottom, I know the rear brakes are a little bit old and you say the tires are old. Given all of that, would you consider an offer for this? Like that means a lot more to people because they see, okay, like you're a serious person. You're not just like throwing out a random lowball offer or something like that. So definitely 100%. Do like the due diligence of that. And like Googling, like another big thing is because we had to do this in buying a bunch of different cars, but like you Google like what are common issues with those cars or common things that should be replaced. Because then when you're asking questions, you're not just general like when was the oil changed, because that doesn't really matter. But like knowing like, oh, I'm looking at this car. Okay, it's got this many thousand miles. Have you ever had the timing belt done on it? Like if specifically like S4s, like if you're looking at like an early 2000s S4 with the V8, and it's got like close to 100,000 miles on it. It needs to have had the timing done, because if it doesn't, it will need to get done very soon. So like that could be a make or break. Like,
looking at those major maintenance points and miles and then figuring out when they were done. Ideally getting receipts for it. Not everybody's going to have them. You're going to have to like take someone's word for it. But ideally you have a little bit more leverage if you don't have receipts for stuff, even if they say it's been done. To get a little bit better price. But that'd be my number one. Do not do. It's just lowball. Do not just click highest available on all of them. What would be another don't?
Another
in your
don't.
book?
Well, another huge.
Here, I just thought of it real quick before I forget.
Yeah, go ahead.
Don't ask if people will take payments. They will not. Nobody's taking payments on their car. Sorry.
You know who does take payments? Banks.
Banks, yeah. Go get a loan. There's no problem with that.
Right. That's a big. So like I've had people come and look at cars before that like have no. Like have your payment thing kind of figured out before. Like have some idea of what you're gonna do, whether it's like a cash thing or if you're gonna get a loan for something. Like have that all sorted out before.
Yeah.
Because that I've missed deals before where like you found the thing and you're like messaging somebody about it, but you didn't have that part figured out, or you're like waiting for something to sell and then you missed the car.
Yeah.
Like that part's super hard. So have something in mind. Just for like how you're going to carry that. Cause that's, I've had people too, like, will you take this diamond ring or will you take this, whatever. And it's just like,
random stuff.
like sometimes trading is fun. We'll get to that in a minute, but yeah, definitely that. The other thing, like the definite don't is like don't definitely do your due diligence before to figure out some of these things, and don't just take people, like, don't just go into a deal to be like, oh, this car's kind of cool, I'll go take a look at it kind of a thing. And just like be all excited about it. Definitely pay attention too, to like how the owner talks about some of the things with the car. Cause like we've all definitely like you looked at a car and he kind of admits to like treating the car horribly. Like that means a lot. So be cautious entering a car like that.
Yep.
There's a lot of that kind of stuff, but I don't know if you have any like horror stories or weird things. I've only had one car that I went and looked at that I had like ended up walking away from. And that's not a good thing. Cause I tend to just, once I'm there and see the car, I'm usually like, this is really
usually
cool.
Sure enough that if you're actually going to go spend the time to go meet somebody for it, because we were talking about that before.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever met somebody for a car that I didn't buy.
Yeah.
But you know what? That reminds me, I met someone with my 325i convertible for trade.
Oh, okay.
I think you were there. I met him in, well, we won't say where we met him, but he had a 99 Audi TT.
Oh.
The 225 edition.
Okay.
In a manual.
Okay.
Absolutely beat to death.
Oh, no.
Like the worst TT.
And your BMW is in nice shape.
It was.
Yeah.
It was clean. It was 110,000 miles or something like that for 95.
Yeah.
It was pretty well taken care of. At least that's what the ad said. And anyways, I think that's the only deal like that I've walked away from. He was mad about it too.
Was he?
He ripped off so hard.
Really?
Like, drove away so hard. I was like, that's why I didn't want the car.
Yeah.
Because you don't treat it well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
well, that's a good note though too, is like another thing when buying cars, like don't be there. Dad has said it a million times. It's hard to live by, but like there will always be another deal. There will always be another car. And like there is like the one when I started my trade challenge thing, I was trying to get rid of that Goldwing and I found a guy with a lifted Grand Cherokee, like kind of local to me. And so I went and checked it out and he said it was having a couple electrical issues and he couldn't get it. It like wasn't idling right or something. And so I went and looked at it. And like in my head, like it was going to be a trade up. So like I'd get to this and I could swap it. I could swap the wheels to Chloe's Jeep. Like I could do some stuff. And I just went and I just like had a bad feeling about it. And like I'm looking and I was just like, I walked through the whole thing and looked at it and I'm just like, honestly, man, like I don't think I can do it. Like I don't think I can take this on. But like it's not. And like because of that, I ended up trading for something else. It was great. Another deal happens. But there's always another car. Like I probably should have done that with my 944. There was enough red flags with that thing. I should not have bought that one. I should have waited longer. But I had fallen in love with it. Like it's hard not to, especially when you've asked all the questions on Marketplace and stuff. Like it's hard to show up and then see that something contradicts that and be like, I think I have to walk away from that. Like we had it with a couple Subarus that we looked at where we showed up and it was like just too many weird things where they're like, hey, where's the trunk button? I'm like, it's missing. I don't know. And you're just like,
yeah,
like, I don't know if I can't go there kind of thing. Like I got to step back, but yeah, don't be afraid when you show up, like you're under no contract. You don't have to feel bad. Like you show up and you see something that contradicts it. Like that's going to be a way more expensive thing down the road, potentially.
For sure.
So like trust your gut, walk away from it. There will always be another car. It may take a little while longer, it may be inconvenient, but there will always be another car.
And ask good questions.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it might be easily explainable.
Yeah. Yeah. And don't be afraid too. Like I've been on the selling side of it a lot where like I'll let like people do the test drive and then they feel really awkward about like having the conversation right after the test drive kind of a thing. And I'll just be like, hey, like, do you want me to walk away? Like, I'll walk away so you can talk about this and like have a little bit of privacy.
Yeah.
Because like some people, especially at like dealerships, they'll like crowd you and they're like,
what
do you think? Whatever. And it's just like don't be afraid to like take some space. Like you could look at a car, you could drive away, take a second, talk about it, whatever. But like make sure, like it's hard to not get lost in. It's like an uncomfortable experience for so many people, I think, because you don't buy cars very often. So unless you're us and we're ridiculous, but like
probably buy cars more often than most.
Yeah.
Not us in particular, but us, like you guys too.
Everybody. But like a lot of people can be kind of an uncomfortable situation. And like, so you kind of got to get yourself out of, I forget what Jocko calls it, like the fog of war or whatever. Like you got to like step your way back from it a little bit.
So intense.
So like, yeah, it's so intense. Get away from it. But like if you like test drive the car, you're trying to take in all this information. It's the first time you've ever seen it. Like you have to get yourself in some sort of headspace to like step back and think logically about it, to be like, okay, like it kind of smelled like this, or that part kind of knocked. How expensive do I really think that'll be? Is that something I take? Like take a second to like collect your thoughts and everything. And if you got to tell the person, like, give me a second, like that's totally within bounds.
The other thing you can do is, you're probably not going to get everybody who's going to be willing to agree to this, but I just had it selling the Audi. I had a full inspection done prior to the sale. Something that the buyer wanted. He wanted to make sure that everything was good and he felt comfortable with it. And we have a local shop that it was like $90, I think.
That's not bad.
They took a few hours and went through the whole thing, drove it, like tested the brakes and all. It was a very detailed report.
Yeah.
And there was stuff that came up on the report that I had no idea about.
I
was like, I didn't know that the rear shocks were he's like, it's really not anything to do right now, but they're just starting to leak a tiny bit. It's like if you rub your hand on it, you can get a little bit of fluid on your hand. That's not, that's some signs that some seals are leaking. Like real little stuff, but I like that because they were super thorough.
Yeah, that's cool.
Even like the battery, they like tested the whole battery. He's like, technically failed the load test. It's not going to give you any problems right now, but like may want to think about
it's
that.
on the way down kind of a thing.
Yeah, so
that's interesting.
So that could be something. Not everybody's going to want to do that, especially if they're hiding something. But if they're absolutely adamant about not having it inspected, that could be a red flag.
That's a good point.
That's
a really good point. Another thing too, like my rule is like if I'm buying a car that's like more than $20,000. I always want to get a Carfax report. And there's actually a way, I don't remember how to do it, but like somehow if you sign up for the app or something like that, you can get like a free like preview of all the history without like having to pay for the thing. But I mean,
that's kind of cool.
Like the Carfax, I paid for it for 3 different Audis. When we were shopping for a Q7, I figured like that was enough enough invested into a car that I really should look at the whole history just to see like what stuff has all been done.
The $30 is probably going to save you.
Yeah, because that's all it is, $30. And like when you're inspecting multiple vehicles, I think I paid whatever it was. It's like 60 and you get 3 reports.
Oh,
so then like you had it in the hopper. So like, because I looked at one and I discovered something I didn't like. So then I was like, oh, I didn't realize that this one was purchased by a salvage yard at one point because it was in an accident and they repaired it. But if I didn't have the Carfax report, I wouldn't have been able to see that had been done. I know these cars can be finicky. So there's stuff like that that's really, really worth it to see. And you get the VIN from somebody. And I mean, that can, like you just said too, that can be kind of a good filter on like, are they hiding anything? Is there anything weird with the history?
If they won't give you the VIN. I mean, I don't personally know any reason that someone would not want to share a VIN other than hiding something, right? Because you can't really,
unless you're hiding like something weird with the title, but you'd catch that when you looked at the title.
That probably brings us to a good next piece.
Yeah.
If you're exchanging funds, get a title.
Yep.
That won't always happen at like a dealership and stuff like that. You know, they're going to ship it to you or whatever. Right. I did just sell my Audi without the title. That's like kind of a special situation that worked out.
Right.
But in general, if you're buying a car, you're going to want to have that title there, review it, make sure there's no liens that are shown up on there.
Yep.
And have that signed over to you by the person who actually owns it.
And make sure you bring the right title, because I did that recently where I handed over the wrong title.
2 episodes ago, right? You told that story?
Yeah. Hand over the wrong title for the wrong vehicle. Double check, because like you can check the VIN of the title to the VIN of the car, do all that kind of stuff, make sure everything's looking good. Definitely check that and make sure, if you're receiving, like some people will get like a cashier's check from a bank or something like that. Like if you're going to do that type of a situation, be at your bank so you can deposit it right away.
100%.
Verify that it's all correct and everything like that. There's a lot of scams that happen from people just not verifying the correct funding method, things like that. Another thing I like to do, I don't know how like legally protecting it actually is, but like if I'm selling a car and there are like disclosed issues that I've discussed with the buyer, I'll write up a bill of sale, which is just 100%. Like, it sounds like an official document. It's not. It's just written up to say.
There is an official document.
Yeah, there's like official templates and stuff you can start from. But I
use that for the Audi since we didn't have the title on hand right away.
Yeah.
Because that's a whole other story.
I have one written. Because like, for instance, when I traded my Goldwing for the Snap-on toolbox, there have been people who've traded Snap-on toolboxes that they were still paying for. And like in some cases, they could come to you or some weird thing. I wanted to protect myself. So I wrote up a document that said, I'm trading an 84 Goldwing that has issues idling. It's had this done, and I know this needs to be done. But like, that's all the stuff we talked about. So it's like kind of putting it out there so they can't come back to you and be like, oh, you scammed me out or whatever. It's just like, well, you signed the thing.
Yeah, the trade stuff is interesting. I know Wisconsin, we're in Wisconsin. So Wisconsin's pretty easy on that type of stuff. So look up your rules or whatever per your state. I know for Wisconsin, any non-dealer sale is an as-is sale. Regardless. Like there's no warranties assumed. There's no condition assumed. It's as-is. You got to do your due diligence to figure it out before you buy it. But check on your state. They're...
I like to do it just for a little bit of like, I had one guy, I never thought about it till when I bought my S6. The guy who I bought it from had handwritten he had all the receipts and stuff, but he wrote a whole document just to say like, hey, I just want to confirm this is the list of things that is wrong with the car that I have talked about with you. So like, this is all the stuff I'm aware of. So like, has this, just to make sure so like, I took it as like, okay, he's being like super honest with me. So I felt great about buying the car because of that. So like, it can be kind of a vote of confidence too for that of like, I just want to be sure you 100% understand what you're getting. I'm not hiding anything from you. I know when I'm selling my Audi now, like a lot of people are asking, they'll come up and they're like, so tell me about the car. I'm like, how long would you like me to talk? Because I will talk your ear off. I will tell you everything that's ever happened with anything with it. Like, and they're like, yeah, tell me everything. I'm like, okay. And then I like dive in. Yeah. So I know people super appreciate that.
Bill of sale too, just to go further into the nuance of why these are helpful.
Yeah.
I had an issue with insurance actually with a bill of sale.
Really?
So I had written one up. I have done it for every car I've sold, but for the truck in particular, last summer I sold it. And my fault, forgot to take it off my insurance. So I had still been paying insurance for it.
Oh, wow.
Up until like 2 weeks ago.
Oh,
I finally
my
got
gosh,
it all
really?
situated. Yeah. And I think this is most insurance providers. If you don't cancel it within like 3 months of selling it, you can still cancel your policy, but you can't cancel it to the date that you sold it.
Gotcha.
Without proof.
Gotcha.
And I was like, how do I prove? I was like, I don't have it. You want to come to my house?
Right.
It's gone. It's not here anymore.
Right.
And I'd ask them, well, can't you guys tell, like in the DMV system that the title has changed owners? And they're like, well, yes, we see that it's changed owners.
Right.
I was like, was it around the date that I told you I sold it? Yeah. Is that interesting? But they were like, technically 2 people can insure the same vehicle at the same time. Like that's allowed. So because of that, we can't cancel it back to that date because we can't prove that you didn't need insurance on it during that time and you're just trying to get a refund, right?
Weird.
So kind of an interesting thing, but so my only proof that I could have for that was a bill of sale. So I had to like track down the prior guy. Yeah, I had to get it. I didn't keep it. So I had to
you found him. Wow.
Yeah. So luckily this is the beauty of Marketplace.
Right.
So I could go back in my sale post, see who I said bought it, message him. Right. And we had stayed in touch anyways because he owns a local business and stuff. So
that's cool.
I have like stayed in touch with, I've realized I have stayed in touch with every buyer of every car I think I've ever sold.
That's cool. Well, I know you just posted about the Datsun guy. I think he's on the page now, right?
Yep.
That's awesome.
He's in the group. He posted about it.
Yeah.
He posted about the car.
It looks great, by the way, guy.
I mean, I know the guy who bought my Audi, obviously, because we're still texting because the title situation and stuff, but we're friends on Facebook and like have each other's numbers with like almost everybody. With like my red WRX, my Datsun, of course, and that's probably it. There's a few I haven't. The memorable cars, I'll say, I've kept in touch with. The ones that have been like, I don't, take this.
Bye.
I've just kind of brushed those off. Yeah. But anyways, that can help with those type of situations or any kind of like, this is going to be, I feel like this part's becoming a little bit boring, but liability issues wise, well,
that's what I've been concerned about with it. It's just like, just to disclose, like,
someone buys your car and then like in 2 weeks or whatever, they get in an accident, abandon the car or whatever, and like go away.
Right.
And they never registered it and it's not under their insurance, but it's still registered in your name and you're still insured with it.
Right.
It's going to come back to you. And like, how do you prove without a bill of sale that you sold? You could show messages and stuff, but like if there's no proof that this person actually bought your car.
Right. It's not signed or anything. Yeah.
It's kind of tough. So
then switching gears now, pun intended.
Here we go.
To selling cars.
Yeah.
What are some tips there? I know the biggest one for me is just being honest
100%.
and actually like I hate when there's a sale post and it's like this car and then the description is this car located in this place, this is the price, and like that's it. It's like I love being super I've gotten way better response just by being really thorough because you like weed out all the junk inquiries, at least most of the junk inquiries up front. If you're like, these are the features that the car has. This is the maintenance that's been
you don't
done.
Get dumb questions.
Yep. And then your terms of like, are you open to trades? Are you just cash only? Where are you located? Any of that kind of stuff. But like being upfront and descriptive about like what you're actually selling and like why you're selling it because that's kind of your opportunity to make the case. Like I'm asking this much. This is why I'm asking this much for it, and like kind of spell that all out for people.
Yep.
So that seems to be
that's
the biggest
funny because
thing.
that my Audi listing was probably the worst listing I've ever done. It was 3 photos of technically current condition, but not current look. It still had the front windshield tint on and everything.
Oh, sure.
But I had already had that changed out and stuff.
Sure.
But I did it so quick. 3 photos and like short description. It's like miles, year, or like what it was, and price. And it was like message me for details or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm gonna update the ad in a week. Like
never
updated it, but I sold it.
Did you just have the copy paste thing that you'd send to people then of like, what's the details?
I sent
of
it to one person and then I just copied and pasted it to everybody else. And then as I added details, I would then expand it and then start sending that to other people too, which is kind of funny. Yeah. But yeah, generally you want to do a decent description. I mean, put the stuff that you know about it, take some decent, clean your car. Yeah. Guys, vacuum your cars. Clean your cars, take your shoes out of the rear windshield. That's like the biggest
weird thing, right? Is like when you get really crappy photos of like dirty cars and then people are asking a lot for it. It's like you have to, unless you're just looking to dump something and you don't care, then whatever. It doesn't matter what photos you take. But yeah, if you're looking to like, I mean, what we try to do is like not lose money on car deals if possible. Like it's like try to keep or earn a little if you got a good deal on it or whatever.
Yep.
But like if you're going to do that, try to like put your best foot forward. So like clean the car. I have a spot where we took pictures and video of your Audi actually over by my house.
That's your photography spot?
Always where I go. So I go there and I take the full, like every picture of the outside, every picture of the inside and all that stuff.
What's cool with Marketplace too is you can do videos now. I haven't utilized it yet.
Either.
But I thought that'd be kind of cool
but I haven't yet.
to do like a actual, like a produced like cool video.
That would be cool.
Of the car.
Yeah. That would be neat. That would help a lot, I would imagine.
Mm-hmm.
But
like a quick snippet of it and stuff. But yeah, that's the biggest stuff. Make the car clean and presentable, not just condition wise, but in your ad too.
Yeah.
Like make it easy to read, make it
Yep.
all the details that are going to be understandable. And then just don't be a jerk. That goes for the buying and selling side. Like, just have a conversation with people. And like, I feel like it's easier in the car enthusiast world.
Yeah.
And for the most part anyways, like someone who's like loves the car and like has had an amazing time with it, for whatever reason they're choosing to move on to something else. Sometimes it's impulse. And that's what's happened to a lot of us. It's like my Subaru is for sale right now.
Right.
I have no intention of selling it, but it is listed.
Right.
If a good offer comes along, or a good trade deal or something like that comes, I'm open to it. But so like most people in the car enthusiast world anyways are pretty reasonable to deal with. And like you can make good friends out of it. Like I plan on staying in touch with the guy who bought the Audi. We're probably going to see each other. He went to a show like the next day that he bought it.
That's awesome.
So yeah, that's the biggest thing. That's probably the biggest overall tip. Don't be a jerk.
Yeah, it's like you got to be reasonable. And like we've all shot our fair. Like I've sent lowball offers to people being like, I understand this makes no sense, but like just got to see. Because I've had weird stuff where like I offered to trade somebody my Q7 for a camper. And they were like super weird. I've been shopping for Q7s and then like had dialogue and stuff. But like you never know like what people are looking for, what people would want to do.
Yeah.
But like, just being reasonable. And then like we were dealing with, I have one of my cars listed for sale right now. And I've been getting snarky responses from a guy like all morning on it. And it's just I have a lot of fun. I have to fight the inner childish urge to just like drop jokes back to people all the time because it's very
So that's
fun
where we differ on these things, because you like to pursue the argument more or less, or like I don't want to say be petty with them, but like you'll give the same energy back. Whatever. And I am so quick to block people. If someone sends me something stupid, I'm just like 3 dots, block. Yes.
Well, I'll do like if somebody sends me, you had a great idea for a response today though. It's like if somebody sends me like a really, really low offer, I'll respond and say yes. And then I'll respond and say, oh, I'm sorry. I thought we were just exchanging jokes.
That's a good one too.
But that's good one too. He was saying like, you should have them like, all right, meet me at the bank. And then when they show up at the bank, be like, all right, now go inside and get the extra money that you'd owe me for the deal or whatever. Which is
my first response was pretty good too.
What was your first?
Just diffuse it. Be like, yeah, that's a good tip. If someone sends you something stupid, like you're asking way too much for it. Yeah, that's a good tip. I might adjust the price. And then they're not going to have anything else to say. But that's my favorite snarky one though.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay, sure. Why don't we meet here? Yeah. And then you meet him there. What are we doing at the bank? Oh, I'll be there in a little bit after you go out and take the extra $4,000 out or go get a loan for the difference.
Yeah, it's like people, for the most part, people are pretty good on there. But I mean, you get your bad apples from both sides of things. From sometimes you're purchasing something, people have unrealistic price. Like I've been searching for cars before, where I've messaged them to be like, I'm really interested. I think your price is wrong compared to other stuff, and they're like, I know what I have, and you're like, and like I'm that guy right now with my Audi. I think for good reasons, but who knows? But like everybody's been on both sides of those deals. It's just not everything is. Nothing's gonna be the only car. Like unless you're buying a one of one Koenigsegg. Like nothing's going to be the only car, the only deal, whatever. Like if it's not going to work for some, sometimes you'll find a great deal. Sometimes people are just strapped for something they can't move on price. Sometimes people don't care. They just want to get rid of it. Like you never know till you ask, kind of a thing. But so don't be afraid to like when buying or selling, like don't be afraid to pursue like something. If the price is a little wrong, like trust your research and offer them, reach out. If they say no, you move on. If they don't, whatever. But
or
like
if the price is too high, but it's in your budget, and you really want it, go for it.
Right.
At some point,
cars kind of are just bad investments. So.
Yeah, that's until you get to a spot where it's like supercars that are either limited make or just hold their value well enough that it's like you're going to be coming out ahead on it. Not even necessarily coming out ahead, but like you're buying a Lamborghini for like 150 grand and you're able to sell it for 150 grand after a couple of years of ownership, and you're essentially owning that car for free.
Yeah.
Like until you get to that point, most cars you're buying are going to be like that.
Yeah.
Unless you get some, my Audi I did pretty well on.
Yeah.
Bought it for 30, sold it for 28.
Yeah, I don't think any of your recent cars and none of my recent cars have been any loss other than like operating costs. Because that's like the biggest thing. If you can get in and out, if you're trading and getting rid of cars as much as we are, like you can kind of like float on it. You won't like make crazy deals unless you buy like fixer uppers and do things, and then you can actually make money off cars, which is that's always super rewarding if that happens.
Mm-hmm.
But it's more of an anomaly. Like, if you find the car and it's like a couple grand and whatever, like if you're gonna take a loan on it, and it's not gonna change it that much if you're just paying cash and you have the cash for it. Like
I did the math the other day because cost of ownership is one thing, but like that's the thing you're not gonna be able to make up for.
Right.
Unless you just
Sometimes you
steal
can,
a
but it's
car,
rare.
You know,
Yeah.
if you get it for so cheap,
Right.
and there's like we've all had
Yeah.
situations, not necessarily just with cars, but with anything that we're
Yeah.
buying, where you buy something that has an issue, and then you get it, and you figure out it's like, oh, I just had to turn this,
Right.
and then it is
My
perfect
Jeep
again.
was that way. I bought that
Oh,
Grand
yeah?
Cherokee for $1,200 and then put rear brakes and a skid plate on it. And then we sold it for $3,000 like a year later. So like that one,
Which Jeep?
the Grand Cherokee, second Grand Cherokee I had. The one we had.
Second Grand Cherokee.
Yeah, light blue one.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you ever saw it. It wasn't that
Very
long.
briefly.
We had it
Yeah.
just as a bridge before we got the Subaru.
Gotcha.
Like that one worked out well because the guy couldn't get it started. He just wanted it out of his driveway. I hit hit a hammer on the starter and it started right up. And then he's like, good for you, man. Like, take it. I'm done.
Oh, that's cool. He didn't try to turn it back.
Yeah. And because I had told him, I was like, well, you know, it needs a new starter, but he's like, just take it. But so like sometimes you can get ahead on that, but that's definitely not like a good strategy to go into cars.
No, you're not gonna have your operating costs,
especially
covered
if it's
and
like a
stuff.
fun car that you want. Like
Yeah.
if I would love to have like a early 2000s 911, and like it would be nice of me to think that would be, even like with my Porsche, like it's nice to think like, oh, it's gone up in value since I've had it. It's like, yeah, but how many parts have I bought for the thing?
Yeah.
Like they're not.
You could probably
they're fun.
float it. The funny thing is, the more you spend, the less you lose, for the most part.
Yeah.
Not in the initial price of the car.
Right.
Like I bought a nearly a flawless car, right? In
Right.
the Audi from
Right.
a dealership, certified
Right.
pre-owned, technically paid the most for it.
Right.
I wouldn't say it was severely marked up or anything.
Yeah.
But I lost, I'll give it $7,000 that I lost
Sure.
over the course of the 3 years and 50,000 miles that I drove it, and
Sure.
all the fun and stuff that we
Sure.
had with it.
Yeah.
And $2,000 from purchase price to sale price, but the rest of it in modifications and
Right.
stuff.
Right.
And I broke it down if I had not bought it and if I had just leased one to drive for that time.
Yeah.
Where you lease, I mean, guys will lease cars, still modify them all and just switch the modifications back to stock.
Yep.
Before they turn the lease back in. Not
Yep.
supposed to do that, but people do it.
Nobody does that.
So, and it was something like 20 something thousand dollars that would have cost me.
Whoa.
Maybe a little bit more over the course of those 3 years.
Wow.
To lease it.
You saved a bunch of money modifying your car. There we go.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It paid for itself. So
There you
there's
there's
times where you can choose to lose less, but a lot of times it's like you pay for the really nice car, you keep the really nice car really nice,
Yeah.
and still do stuff that you want with it, but keep the really nice
Yeah.
car really nice, and then you're able to sell it for a really nice car price.
Yeah.
Still.
It depends. It all depends on like depreciation timelines too. Cause like depends on when you buy something. So like if you get something new and then you get rid of it quick, you're great. If you would have kept that
Yeah.
Audi for 10 years, you would have lost all the money in the world.
Oh, 100%.
Cause
Yeah.
like you can get S4s from 2013 for like $8,000. Like,
Yeah.
you know, so like, it's like if you do anything quick in car world, you can kind of can skip it. Like my Audi, I've had so many people ask me if I'm the original owner. I'm like, I need you to understand something. This was an $80,000 SUV.
Yeah,
In 2013, I was a freshman in college.
Yeah,
So
right.
like, no, I'm not
Yes,
the
I
original
was.
owner. Yeah, daddy's money.
Yeah, right.
So say all that. Yes, I was.
Yes.
So like if you can get cars in the right period, or if you're swapping them or you're doing whatever, like you don't have to lose a bunch of money on cars. Like if
Right.
you're smart with it, you know, if you look at when things are depreciating, like I wouldn't buy like you can see things that are on the decline from original price to where they are now, and you're just like, yeah, that's probably not for me. But
Yeah. It's nice to buy them at the bottom too. If you're buying something that's older than 5, are we out?
no, it's gone. I
Is
don't
it
know
okay?
why.
Like if you're buying something that is probably older than 5 years old, I would want to say.
Yeah.
For the timeline.
Then you're in like kind of the danger zone.
You'll want to check on where it's at depreciation wise and try
Right.
to wait and buy it at the bottom.
And-
I'll add a caveat to
Yeah.
all of this as far as the value stuff goes. If it's a car that you really want
Yep.
and you can afford it, buy it anyways.
That kind of
That's, like,
goes
the
into
main
the
thing.
trade thing.
Yeah.
And real quick too on that value thing, like a good way to check for depreciation. So let's say like we're looking at Subaru Outbacks right now. So like look at Outbacks now, like the price now, and then look at a 5-year-old one and a 10-year-old one and a
Mhm.
15-year-old, and just like watch what's happening, because they level out at some point. But like you can kind of get a feel then for
Yeah,
like
they level out. A good way to check this is go shop for Priuses or go shop for Toyotas in general. You'll go look at like a 2012 Prius and a 2005 Prius, and they're the same price.
Yeah, it's weird.
Like they just they hit that.
Yeah.
And like basically like $8,000. It's like
Yep.
the cheapest you're gonna be able to buy a halfway decent Prius for, regardless.
Yep.
Not that I've been shopping for Priuses, but
yeah, it's something
I've seen
it's something you can look at. So like whatever you're looking for, like kind of figure that out, because like Audis are another great example. Like if you're looking for an
Mhm.
S4, like you could go buy a new one for like $60,000, or
Yeah.
you could buy a B5. I guess B5s are getting expensive now, but like you could buy a B6
I think if
or
you're shopping
4.
for a new one, you're probably not shopping for a B5.
No, but you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if you're looking at, so not a new one, but if you're going to buy a couple-year-old, like I would not buy a 3-year-old or 4-year-old one. Like that would be like, even your S3 is probably like right on the edge of like.
Yeah, I bought it it was a 2017, so I bought it.
Yeah.
I bought it 3 years old.
Yeah.
I bought it in
Oh, so
2020.
you got pretty lucky.
Mhm.
So it's just, I don't know what period it is then. Maybe it's once they get like 6.
It depends on the
6
car.
or
It probably
7,
depends
then
on
it's
how much. I think it depends on the car and how many they made, because
Yeah.
the buyer for my car,
Yeah.
mine was the only one in the state that you
Wow.
could find.
That's cool.
That wasn't beat to
Yeah.
death. There was like one other one that
Yeah.
had like 50,000 more miles
Yeah.
and was totally beat up.
Well, it's weird because if you bought the previous gen, then S3, so like a
Mhm.
year different from yours, it probably would have been what, like a $22,000
I
car?
would have been
23?
able to buy it for. I looked at one. It was like 25.
Oh, I'm saying
at the
like,
time.
oh yeah. So like now, if
Oh,
you
now
would've-
you
if
can
you
get
would've
them for
been
low
s-
20s.
Yeah. So if you were selling it now, like it already,
Yep.
like the depreciation would have been that much different than what yours was, just from little things like that. But
Yep.
yeah, I don't know. It's there's no formula. It's random.
Yeah, it's per
But-
car per and demand, and then the market too. We
Right.
happen to have gone through some weird
Yeah,
financial
it's a weird
changes in the
time.
last like. My example is not the best example
Right.
because I bought it in 2020 and I sold it in 2023. There happens to have been this thing called inflation that has
Right.
been pretty rampant
Right.
since 2020.
Right.
So that helped my cause quite a bit.
Right.
But-
Yeah, it is a weird time. But that's so inflation thing ties into it too. So like the last category we'll cover a little bit of is trading. Because
Mhm.
trading's a weird thing. And I like it a lot. I've been trying, if you guys have been following the show, I've been trading for a while to try to get up to a camper from a free Traeger grill that I got. And currently I'm at a pretty sweet bike, which is making me
I
So-
forgot that your new bike is the most recent iteration of that trade from
Yep.
the free grill.
Yep.
I thought it had sort of ended and now it's like
nope, that's the
That's
same.
awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're at a 2016 BMW F800R, which I also 100. If I would have had this bike like
it sounds
years
like
ago,
a $25,000 bike when you say the name out loud. A BMW F800R. It's
Yeah.
a 2016 BMW F800R. If you were just to ask
Yeah.
a random person, what do you think a bike like that costs?
Yeah.
It'd be like,
Yeah.
I don't know, 20 grand.
a
something like
bunch. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels. I mean, it's got like it has ABS. It has I can change the suspension from the handlebars. Like it has so many. It is so much more bike than I ever need at all. It's ridiculous. I never would have that bike if it wasn't for trading. But that's like where it's kind of cool. So like trading is an interesting thing with cars because you're pulling out of funds. Like it's not dollars. You're not associating anything with dollars.
that. Right.
It's all value based on perception. So it's like obviously you're not going to go trade like a Prius for a 911 because like there is still value associated.
There's definitely cases
there's-
that's happened. I'm
oh,
guarantee it
Oh, yeah.
that that's happened.
now I want to do it.
yeah,
but
right.
there's wiggle room because like you can say like my whole trade up thing has been based on like, you know, I have something that's worth let's say $4,000 and I see something that's selling for $6,000. Like I can communicate with them because I'm not coming to them with here's $4,000 and they're going, well, that's 30% less than I wanted. I'm coming to them with, hey, here's this motorcycle. And you're kind of offering it up because you don't know what people want. You don't know what's worth to them. Maybe they've been wanting a motorcycle. Maybe they're selling this to get a motorcycle. Maybe whatever. You don't know. Like I've had it a lot with cars where I traded my Porsche 944. I got that because I traded them my Grand Cherokee. And it just so happened I had messaged a bunch of people and this guy was looking for something practical that his sister could drive and had this thing and like was, oh yeah, I'd actually be interested in that. I was like, really? So like it's happened a lot I've traded a bunch of cars. And then most recently this whole bike thing, but like that
Mhm.
seems to be the biggest thing is like, if you can pull, it doesn't always have to be a big value difference. Sometimes it's just whatever. You have a car and you're looking for a truck, or you have a truck, you're looking for something more fuel efficient or whatever.
If you have any type of car, if you indicate at all that you would accept any kind of trade or you don't, you're going to get about 50 motorcycle trade offers.
Yep.
Just so you guys know.
And
if you haven't listed
49 of them
something-
will be me.
you just keep send.
But yeah, I mean, that's the thing is like, because I've been doing this trade thing and like different people in our family and whatever have been like, yeah, how in the world does it even happen? Like, how do you find the deal? It's like you sift through like 200 bad deals. Like you have,
Yeah.
So that's the thing with trading, like be prepared for a ton of rejection. But like if you have like a plan in mind, and like for toys is usually easier than reliable stuff. But like
Yeah.
if you had like a Corvette and you really wanted to trade into like an Audi something, or you have, you know, a boat and you want to trade for a 4-wheeler or like whatever, like you can trade anything for anything. The biggest thing with that is like, especially with cars, making sure you have your title. Like if there's loans or anything on anything, it throws a huge wrench in the system. I just had
For
that
sure.
with the Audi where some guy's like, yeah, but we'd have to like meet at the bank and see if they'll take your car as collateral and all that. I'm like, yeah, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
Like that's too much. But yeah, like trade stuff, like it confuses a lot of people. It kind of scares a lot of people, but it's really not hard. It's just a matter of like do some research, know what you have a good sales pitch for your thing, especially if you're trying to trade up. Like you have to really be able to explain why, why you think you're going to be able to make this thing. Like I got lucky with a couple of my trades because it just so happened to be like I traded the Goldwing for a brand new Snap-on toolbox, and the guy just didn't want the toolbox. It had sat for a while.
Trade.
He wanted a project, so he traded. So that was nuts. And then I happened to find a guy who was an aviation mechanic who had the Aprilia, who was like, "Oh, I wanted to buy a new toolbox anyway. That's why I was selling this." So like, sure.
Also a crazy
trade.
I
messaged so many people. Like imagine like so many people with like Mustangs. Like, do you want a toolbox? Like that's a very different thing. But
it's so interesting because looking at like the guy who traded the Snap-on for the Goldwing.
Yeah.
Like on your end of it, you look at it kind of like, man, like he got the sour end of the deal. But he's looking at it like I took this toolbox just sitting there.
Right.
I couldn't ride it.
Right.
Couldn't do anything with it.
Right.
You can store tools, whatever. Now I got like this motorcycle to work on. Like the that's what's so cool about like the value exchange of it is so different.
It's really weird because I mean, even the first one was a Traeger grill that I got for free for the Goldwing. And the Goldwing was listed, I think it was listed at $2,000. And then he had it marked down to like $1,200 or $1,300 or something because he couldn't get it started. He had too many projects. He had a sweet, what was it? No, it was an M6. He had like an older M6. Or I guess whatever year they were, the weird swoopy ones or whatever they're the convertible. Yep. He had that. He had a bunch of other projects, and like his wife was just like, "You got to get rid of that bike." And so I had messaged him and said, "Hey,
2 less wheels in this crush."
And it wasn't for trade. It wasn't anything like that. But I messaged him and said, "Hey, like this is a weird offer, but I have this nice Traeger smoker. Like I don't use it, and I'd way rather have a motorcycle project. I don't know what yours needs, but I'd be interested." And he was like, "That sounds like." Yeah, that sounds like it would work. And like it just happened to work out. I messaged so many people that it didn't work out for, but that's all it takes is like the one. And then like from that, I've had weird deals to now at this 2016 BMW.
I don't think you're far off from a camper either.
No, I'm in the same value. It's just so, I don't know what it is. It's motorcycles are weird. I warn everybody, if you're doing a trade challenge, motorcycles are dicey. Because it takes exactly the right, unless you trade for Harleys. That seems to be my thing. If I could get somebody with a Harley, then I think I could get over. It's the fact that it's a weird naked sport bike kind of thing that people are like hesitant. But a ton of people, my latest thing has been trying to go to Corvette because I think Corvette would go for camper easy.
Yeah.
But a lot of people selling Corvettes have old knees and don't want motorcycles anymore. So that's been the thing.
They graduated from motorcycles to Corvette.
Yep. But it's fun. I mean, you get to talk to a lot of people about stuff and like, you make a lot of connections with it and like the good deal will happen eventually if you're persistent with it. You'll weed through a lot of bad deals, but it's a lot of like, is this interested? Would you trade for this? And like send pictures. And then you send pictures and they say no. And then you go to the next one. So you're deleting messages.
Or they'll say, sure, if you add this much money on top of it. And it's like, then you got to decide. I mean, maybe it makes sense because it is easier to add money on top of something that you already have than sell it and then have the money, especially if that deal's available.
Right. And trades are so nice because then you're not doing the whole like, you sell it and then you have the thing and then whatever. Because the other kind of cool thing, and I believe this, don't take this as legal. I shouldn't say that. Never mind. No legal advice. But if you just exchange the vehicle, there's on the title, it's marked as a trade. So it's a $0 exchange. So there's
not a non-taxable event, right?
Right. So there's not like hesitation, all this, whatever, censor, whatever. But don't want to get this is my bill of sale.
Everybody should know at this point that this is a primarily comedy podcast. We can talk about some real car stuff, but you should definitely not be taking. We are giving a little bit of advice.
The events discussed in this show are not based on real life actions.
Yeah, we have a little disclaimer or whatever. This is just for fun.
But if you try, it's just easier because you're not
experience. Yeah, this is what happens.
Right. You don't have to like go meet somebody and then you have money and then you put it in the bank. And then you go shop on Marketplace and then you find something and then you wait till it not being a weekend because all deals happen on weekends and you have to wait till it's Monday or whatever to go to the bank again and get your thing and whatever. And it's just a whole thing. It's way easier to just find something. Maybe you can come out a little bit ahead. Maybe you have something and it's just been sitting and you find something you really like. It's a little bit less. You can see if they'll throw a little cash on top or just trade for it or whatever. But it's kind of a fun way to like pop around and trade for different things.
I have like not persistently, but lightly tried. Just try to do a trade thing.
Yeah.
I have a push lawnmower.
Nice.
That I put up for like a week.
Yeah.
And I didn't get any messages on it.
So
and
funny.
I sent it to a few people.
Yeah.
And it was just, of course, nothing.
Yeah.
But I might have to, because I got that old BMW engine. Yeah. I'll put that out there and see if anybody wants an engine project.
It would be interesting to host. So we should talk about this seriously, but it would be fun to host a channel. I thought this would be fun to do annually. Like every summer, we all start with $100 and like see what we can trade up for. But it'd be kind of fun on the page to do like, you have like $100 starting. So like one thing I've been thinking about, I have a air compressor that I got off the side of the road that was, it was free. and it didn't work because the valve had gone bad on the bottom, and I replaced the valve and it works perfect. But I just don't need a big air compressor that much. So I'm like, I wonder like what I could trade for. Like, I wonder where I could go from here. Cause like, you just got to start like at that level. It's like, whatever. If I say the air compressor is $100, then it's like, okay, could I trade for a $200 something? So like maybe a toolbox. Cause maybe somebody, if I had a toolbox and I wanted an air compressor, I'd be like, sure, I don't use this, whatever. So trade for that. And then after your toolbox, like maybe trade for a nice table saw. And then you got a table saw. And then the table saw, trade for a nice snowblower. And then get the snowblower right in time for winter. And then trade that for
It's like
whatever.
a maze.
Oh yeah.
Like you see like the beginning and the end goal of what you want, and then you got to like go this whole roundabout way.
Well, gosh,
to, like,
and
get that.
I skipped so much, right? I'm on like trade 5 and I'm where I'm at. Like I'm not doing the one guy, I can't think of his name, but the guy
trade up.
straight up.
Adam, I believe.
Yeah. Like he'll go from like, I mean, gosh, some of those guys, they have like, they're trading like some shirts for life vests, for a vacuum cleaner, for like industrial grade this, for a mixer, for whatever. Like they're doing all that level of stuff. I know I have a relative now who's getting like all excited about it because they heard my story of trading stuff and they were like going for it. But you're looking him up now.
Yeah, why can't I find him? Straight up trade up, right? Isn't that his name?
Yeah. I don't know. We'll get to it later. But
Yeah.
it's a very, I will say it's very addicting to get into the whole trading thing. It can become like my wife will all the time be like, I think maybe you don't need to be on Marketplace anymore tonight, because I've sent like 40 people messages, but it's fun. And if you guys have any crazy trade stories, we'd love to hear about them, because I think we've all had like, you know, I have this car, you have this car. Do you want to make a deal? We've all had those experiences before. Yeah, straight up trade up.
At straight up trade up on TikTok's how I found him. Turns out he's local. That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
I think, last I had talked to him, because I had sent him some stuff. He was still trading the E30, sick E30.
Yeah, very nice
for
looking
trade.
E30.
It seems like he's still in the process of trading that. I
it.
imagine as it gets higher in value, it gets harder to trade, because the people with the higher value things are probably a little more particular about because of the perceived value, right?
Yeah, and like my bike is listed, I think the KBB value on it's like 7,500. So like in my mind, it's like in the lower value, you're talking about a couple $100, and the higher value, to have the same effect of like a skip up, you're like legitimately trying to get people to like knock like thousands of dollars off of things, which like, who knows? Some people, maybe they listed their thing a little bit high and you're offering them a little lower and they're like, yeah, it's probably realistic anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Like you just don't know until you ask. So
for sure,
you know, you be expected to be told no a lot, but yeah, if you guys have any, like, I'd love to hear any of your guys' trading stories.
I like that idea of a challenge. Maybe we should
what weird
talk
stuff
about
have
that.
you guys traded for? Yeah. And then we'll talk about that more and see, like, it feels like that would be a really good start of summer challenge kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
It could start in the fall too though, but yeah, I mean, we'll post, maybe I'll post a picture of the bike, talk about trading for it, and see what you guys have all traded for. So look for that. It's a white motorcycle on the page. Can't miss it. And if anybody wants a BMW, I'm your guy.
We got nearly 500 people in the group too, so I bet you'll find somebody who might actually want to. It'd be kind of cool. Why haven't you posted it in there yet?
I don't know. It feels weird. Feels like trying to trade up with a family member, I think.
Oh, I see what you mean.
So I don't want to, like, unless somebody really wants the bike and wants to lose a little value in the thing. That's the goal, is to end up at a camper at some point. But now I've successfully converted my wife. I haven't converted my wife. She has had a change of heart and says we will never not have a motorcycle.
Oh,
but I've made the deal with her. I don't want a motorcycle more expensive than my cars. That seems
fair.
stupid.
That's fair.
So yeah. But anyway, post your trades. Those are our couple tips. But yeah, if you guys have other tips for like marketplace stuff, it's just not, if you haven't done it yet, like some people, I know one person in particular, one of Tyler's friends, was like nervous about like doing private party anything with cars, because it's just like, it can be risky.
It's Wild West. Yeah,
it can be, especially if you, I mean, we were raised, like, Dad's had more cars than years he's been married to Mom. Like, he's had a lot of cars. So we were raised with like cars in and out, whatever. They're commodities. They're here for a little bit. You enjoy them. You try something else, whatever.
Yep.
We have a shirt that for our podcast that says life's too short to drive boring cars. So like, it's part of it is, it shouldn't, I don't think, like, when I find out like the whole average people own 8 cars in their lifetime.
Yeah, I don't believe
like, that sounds horrible. Like, you gotta have fun. You gotta try stuff, but don't be afraid to, like, you know, put some feelers out there. Could be on Craigslist, which now charges you $5 to post car ads, which is ridiculous. Or Marketplace or whatever. Don't be afraid to like reach out and ask people questions. And yeah, if you've had any crazy deals, we'd love to hear about them. So
post them up.
Yeah.
Third Pedal Podcast Crew Facebook group.
Yep. And I think that's about it for another rambling episode of the Third Pedal Podcast.
We're just gonna call this the Ramblers Pod. I like it though.
Ramblers is a car thing, isn't it? It's like an old school thing.
Mhm.
The Rambler.
Like a Suzuki Rambler, something like that.
Oh, I thought it was like a style of hot rod. Anyway,
Oh, could
hope
be.
you guys have a great week. Catch you next time.
Peace.